Hey guys, this is Rodolfo Martinez, athletic trainer here again with Figure It Out Baseball, and I wanted to talk to you today about a problem that you may think is stupid until it happens to you, and that's blisters. So blisters can impact your velo and definitely impact your command if it's on your throwing arm, and it can even limit you from throwing altogether if it's significant enough. Over the course of my career, I actually have made a mound visit for blisters before, so definitely don't underestimate these things and make sure you're treating them appropriately so you can get back to 100% and performing at your best. So let's start with what are blisters, and blisters are essentially excess friction to the skin. The skin is experiencing a stress that it usually doesn't, whether it's a new pair of cleats rubbing on your heel in a way that the old cleats didn't, or maybe you're playing around with different pitching grips. You're shifting more stress onto your middle or your ring finger, where normally those fingers haven't seen that stress in the past. This excess friction or stress essentially peels away those top superficial layers of the skin, and it exposes the more sensitive, deeper layers of the skin underneath. So sometimes you can have a fluid buildup with this. You may have like a little bit of clear fluid that may leak out of that blister. Sometimes it may be blood. It all depends on the specific stress that your fingers or your skin are experiencing. So let's go to the most important part, and that's how we actually treat the blister. I like to think of my blister care in two separate phases. The first phase is about really keeping it clean and making sure you're preventing infection. And the second phase is about making sure it dries out and you're replacing that with new skin as quickly as possible. So first phase, like I mentioned, is about keeping it clean. And the easiest way to do this is just plain old soap and water. Making sure you don't have any dirt or anything caught in there. But then also following that up with keeping it covered. This is an open wound, so you want to make sure you treat it appropriately. A Band-Aid or something similar will work just fine here. You just want to protect it from the outside elements and really minimize your risk of infection. That risk of infection is the highest within these first few days, but if you're doing the right things, it's relatively low. You may want to consider doing an antibiotic cream, a Neosporin, something like that, underneath the Band-Aid. You also may want to consider some padding if it's super sensitive. So you can use padding over or underneath the Band-Aid, however you want to work it. I used to use a product called Second Skin, so it's something you throw just underneath the Band-Aid. Most important thing here is if you're using padding, make sure it's clean. That padding is just going to give you a little bit of cushion, is going to absorb a little bit of force so that when you touch it, it's not going to be super sensitive to that skin that's pretty raw underneath. So that'll conclude part one of my video series on how to treat blisters. Once again, that's me, Rodolfo Martinez with Figure It Out Baseball. Check out part two to get phase two of blister healing and how to really make sure you're back to 100%. Thank you guys.